done.
Yeah, they do not mess around down there at Bakersfield. And we've seen it a couple times at the big show, the Bud Nationals, where guys have done just that. I don't know if I'm going to assume, give them the benefit of the doubt, they're out-of-towners. They're not used to it. They pull off thinking, okay, I'm going to go to Tech. Well, you just missed your shot.
Yeah, everybody always wants to get off the track as quick as possible.
Right,
so.
Right. And that's kind of, I think, has been, I know it hurt Mark Carroll a couple of years ago, and he had a fantastic run. So,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a bummer deal. But I like how you guys do it down there, though. I mean, you guys you're strict, you're tight, and you get the job done. That was our IMCA stock cars.
You know as well as I do, Corey, as soon as those cars start parading off into turn one, coming on the backstretch is the next race.
That's right. There's
no hesitation. There's no, sit back and relax. It's bang, bang, bang. The Tech guys go off, take those cars. They're watching them, and then the next group comes out. We start the next race.
And as a race fan, that is absolutely awesome.
Mm-hmm.
As an announcer, that could be frustrating.
It was a little busy.
It was, absolutely. So that was our IMCA stock cars at Bakersfield last Saturday. What was our next division, guys?
Let's see. Next division was our last division of the night. That was the IMCA Sport Mods. Now, the IMCA Sport Mods had a special event going on this past weekend. They had the Motor City Throwdown Universal Series event number 1. The Universal Series, Motor City Throwdown jumped aboard with Kern County Raceway Park, their dirt track, and Bakersfield Speedway with the IMCA Sport Mods, and said, you know what, we're going to give you points for running and passing on Friday at KCRP. Then we're going to give you points for Bakersfield on Saturday. That will give us an overall event winner for that, and they paid extra beyond the purse of what the racetrack did themselves.
Sweet. I like it. And
and they were paying, it was $600 for first, $500 for second, $400 for third, $300 for fourth, and I think $250 for fifth, sixth, and seventh, and it went down from there. But I think everybody who started the A main got extra money for it.
That's a pretty cool deal when you get a series put together. And that is a division that up and down the West Coast, the sport mods are exploding. These things are growing so fast. I think it's going to be our next real big division.
I believe it'll have an influence on the Northwest because a lot of those modifieds that, people are saying are outdated, they can still be used in this sport mod class and be ran everywhere. I won't be surprised if guys like Colin Weinberger, Tanner, those guys up there decide to bring a sport mod with them in the future for Bud Nationals and do more than just double duty. A lot of the guys out here do it. They'll run 3, sometimes even 4 classes. I know it's a toe for you guys, but it's something that a lot of these guys might be doing in the future. I could see it up there.
Mike, do me a favor. Is your phone on speaker?
Yes.
Can you take it off speaker?
All right. How about that one?
Much better. I think that's where we're hearing that noise.
Okay.
So that was Go ahead.
Okay. Like I was saying, I do think sport mods are going to be, a rising commodity up there in the Northwest. Because I believe there'll be a lot of guys that run modifieds, run late models, that'll jump into a sport mod as well. It's an IMCA sanctioned class down here. It's something that they can take with them and travel. I know the tow sometimes is deep for you guys to come down here, but, you come out here, you see guys like Clay Daly at the Bud Nationals. He's running a late model, a modified, a sport mod, and a pro stock.
Yeah, he's a busy driver.
But there's guys that have the talent up there that can do the same thing.
We've got guys doing it. We actually have guys doing it, absolutely. So take us through the sport mods and give us finishing order and highlights of those guys from Saturday night.
All right. Your winner the 18C from Bakersfield is Chris McKellar. Second place was the 22C of Michael Johnson. He won the night before at KCRP. Third place was none other than the G6. We call him Big Lick Gary Dutton from Bakersfield. Fourth place was Nick Spainhoward. Nick was the overall points winner for this event, for the Universal event. There's some interesting stuff we'll talk about Nick in a little bit. And then fifth was Austin Manzella in the 04M.
Okay,
from Bakersfield. To
hear this is the first thoughts that come to my mind. To hear that neither Spainhoward or Johnson won at Bakersfield, that surprised me.
Well, Michael Johnson was second. He threw a slide job that started on the front stretch and ended right about the lights on the back stretch. And Chris McKellar saw it coming from the front stretch and prepped for it and was able to keep the composure and watch Mike, the beautiful pink and blue car, slide right up in front of him and keep going as he dove to the bottom coming out of turn 2 and was able to keep the preferred line going across into 3 and 4 and was able to win it.
Yeah, it just surprised me that the 22 or the 40 didn't win. I mean, those guys are, every time I show up down there, those guys are just phenomenal in the sport mods. Let's talk about, because there was a little bit of controversy, Brian, a little bit of controversy on how Spainhoward won that whole deal. You kind of want to walk us through?
Yeah, you're kind of giving me some new information, but yeah, it kind of was in the mind of me the whole time because where he started at. And like Mike said, between the two tracks, it was added up with the passing points and your finishing, and everybody thought it was he set it up for himself to win the deal. But I mean, I've seen Steve Kinzer, I've seen some of the biggest guys do the same thing. They do a qualifying as a bogey qualifying, but they know there's going to be a total invert, and they win. So.
There was some controversy in how he won it, and Mike, I know you kind of explained it to me earlier, and it was kind of, a lot of guys were upset, but honestly, what happened, and I don't see it as a dirty move. I can see how people would think it was controversial, but I can see how he did what he did and why. Take us through, Mike. Take us through the story and the setup and how it started the night before and carried over to Bakersfield, and how Spainhoward got the series win.
Well, first off, Nick started the day coming in late. He was late getting to the track. He said had some issues with the car, and he wanted to make sure everything was okay before he brought it out. Well, with that being said, he didn't get a chance to do any hot laps. He went out, started dead last in his heat. Well, his car was still set up for KCRP. Came out there. Didn't perform very well, kind of sliding all over the place. Instead of trying to force the situation and get a good start for the main event, possibly ruining his car or somebody else's night, he decided with a couple laps in his heat race to pull off. And in my mind, when he did that, the first thing I thought was he's got a seriously ill-handling car that he needs to work on. The second thing I thought was the points going, okay, he's getting passing points. He already saw Gary Dutton and Michael Johnson finish, in the top 3 in their heat races. They're going to be up towards the front. If I'm going to be starting in the back and I need to make up points, the only way I can make up points where they have nothing to do with it is if I pass people. So if I start towards the back and I know I'm faster than 8, 10, 12 cars that are in front of me, and I start 21st, that's a lot of passing points that I can get, that I can take advantage of, that guys like Gary Dutton and Michael Johnson couldn't. So, I don't necessarily have to race Michael Johnson or Gary Dutton to win the thing. I just have to catch them. And I think that's exactly what happened, is he looked at it going, I don't need to overly stress the situation. The car's not right now. I know it's going to come to me. I know I'm faster than those guys in the back. Let me set the car for the main event when the money's on the line, and I'll make it happen. And sure enough, that's what he did, and he finished, fourth place.
On fourth place with passing 15 cars at 2 points a car is 30 passing points. So
right.
he gets the passing points plus fourth place points, and it's enough to win him the 2-race series title, correct?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask my guys here. Dom, Sam, do you think it was a strategic move? Do you think it was dirty? How do you view that situation?
It could have went either way. I mean, I've not been. I didn't qualify this past weekend, but then I, zoom forward. It happens.
And
I don't know.
I think that it depends on who you are and your perspective, whether you're a fan or you're somebody competing against him. I can see how the guys competing against him are going to say, hey, wait a second. But then you got the fans going, okay, I see what he did. I mean, I don't think it's a dirty deal. And I know that Nick is a hardcore racer, okay? And you saw him at the Bud Nationals. A very, very good talent. Not a cheat, not a dirty driver. I honestly think that maybe there was a little bit of thought that went into it, but if you can take advantage of that, and it's not illegal,
right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Right. I believe it was absolutely a little bit of Johnny Fair play. He knew the rules. Everybody knew the rules.
That's smart.
He saw the situation that he was in. I take advantage of the rules to the best I could.
I think it's a smart deal. Sam, what do you think?
Here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff going on in a race car. It happens very fast. Mm-hmm. I've literally talked to so many drivers doing in-car that they don't think about that thought until it's after. How's that?
So you think it was just genuinely he had an ill-handling car?
I think he had an ill-handling car. From what I hear of the situation, I think he just went, you know what? I don't want to tear up my stuff.
And that could have been it.
Yep.
Either way, it worked out, and he walks out as the champion, and congrats to him. That's a big deal because the sport mods, like we've seen at Bakersfield, intense with the level of competition there.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So, Brian, what do you think, man? How do you think that show went for the sport mods?
I think it went great, and I don't think Nick. I don't think he intended, or how would you say it, a better word? I don't think he intended to do that. I think, like Mike said, the car was not handling right. He didn't want to push it. He didn't want to tear up his car. Plus, you got to understand, he did finish fourth at Kern County Raceway Park and did come from the back. So you got to have those passing points. Johnson won, Jernigan got second, Spanhauer got third, and Gary got fourth at Kern. So any one of those guys could have won this race.
Absolutely, and certainly anybody that knows Nick knows that he's a talented driver. That cheating isn't a question. I mean, he's not one of those guys that has a cheater label. He's not one of those guys that's known to be a dirty driver. This guy is a top-notch racer, especially in that division. And I certainly wouldn't accuse him of doing anything illegal or cheating. But if you understand what's going on and you got an advantage to take a second to take advantage of that, certainly do it. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I really don't, because had it been myself in that car and I'm looking at the situation going, wait a second here, this car's junk. I'm hurting myself. I'm going to pull off. I'm going to start in the back of the feature. I'm going to take passing points. I got a chance to win this deal. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Now, if he comes from the back and wins, you know how I feel about that. I'm a big fan of that.
Yep.
So congrats to Nick Spanhauer. That's cool.
Here's the thing I'm looking forward to. In July, they're doing this again. And you know the famous words, fool me once, shame on me, or fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So it's going to see how these guys look at these rules and, adjust their strategy accordingly.
But, I mean, there wasn't a rule that was broken, so how do you adjust something that doesn't need to be
But we're just going to go out and win. Go out and win, go out and win. Now you see how, everything else plays into it and how you can win without winning the race.
So you can win the series without winning the race is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
sandbag your qualifying time.
Oh, geez.
No, you can't do that, because if you overrun your qualifying time, then you're black flagged.
Only by what?
8/10.
Yep.
So.
But I don't have a problem with it, and I'm a fan of Nick Spanhauer and the sport mods down there. The guy's a phenomenal driver, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action later on